Hey guys, it's Brian, Mr. SF Studios. I guess I haven't been making videos for a while. Someone complained, so here's one for you today. Working on the old BSG costume, the classic Colonial Warrior. 2006, 2007, I had this made for me. It's pretty screen accurate actually to what they wore, the Colonial Warrior wore. But the problem with these costumes has always been the boots, because they wore these rare motocross boots, Sidii Full Bore. I was just using these. I've had these, oh gosh, since the 90s probably. Terrible boots, really uncomfortable, the wrong size, and they're nowhere near what the real Sidii Full Bores are, but you know, they did okay for Halloween. What's in here is 50 years old. Or will be next year. I guess it's 49 years old. There it is. Wonderful. Wow, he did a nice job packing. Highly coveted Italian motocross boots, 1974. Oh, these are in good shape. Look at that. Yeah, this is the Sidii Full Bore. Sidii Full Bore. And this was the kind that the costumers of Battlestar Galactica used. You see, there's Starbuck. Sidii Full Bore. Basically, they just took a motocross boot and they dyed it a brown, cordovan brown. And that's what we're going to do today. So this is what you'll need to turn your Sidii Full Bore boots into Battlestar Galactica Colonial Warrior boots. You'll need some masking tape. You'll need some Q-tips, some brushes, toothbrushes, some rags, aluminum polish, leather vinyl cleaner, and 2 cans of cordovan brown leather coloring to change the black to brown. First you gotta get all these straps off. So you just open them up, pull out the straps. And the next step is to take some leather cleaner and a little brush, even a toothbrush if you need to, and just clean everything thoroughly. Just get it all sudsed up, clean everything. All the nooks and crannies. Then take a rag and wipe off the grime and dirt, shoe polish, whatever you put on it. Looks like you polished them. You cleaned them and polished them. But we don't want oily polish when we go to dye them, so we want to remove all that. I suppose you could use simple green or a degreaser. Probably would work too. The big thing is just to get it super clean so that when you dye it, it's in good shape. Now I think for these buckles, I'm going to use a little Mother's aluminum polish on a Q-tip. And actually you can use real fine steel wool, the 000 you take that and put a little polish on them. Steel wool. Bring back those buckles. Okay. Let them shine like they did in 1974. Or 75, I forget. There we go. Yeah, look at that. Once you're satisfied with the cleanliness of the buckles, it's time to mask them. Take some masking tape and neatly mask off each buckle. And then for this, you can trim it with an X-Acto blade. And then, like I say, just put it on, burnish it down to the edges, and then trim your masking tape. Trim it right up to the metal. Now, since we're going to want to get the dye everywhere, including the inner tongue, I'm just going to stuff the whole boot with paper and whatnot. I guess you can use some of this packaging. I just want to expand everything so that it stretches it out. Like that. I'll also keep the dye from going inside the boot. We're expanding it. We want to be able to get all this dyed too. Masking them in the upward position is the way to go. Just straight up. It keeps them off of the leather, out of harm's way. So now, as far as the name tag goes here, they actually painted over them on the show. But these are such cool boots, I kind of want to preserve this, so I think I'm going to mask mine. I think I may polish it first. Put a little polish on that stainless again. Hit it. Just get it looking good. Because if you polish it after, you'll get your new dye all messed up. So better to polish it now than later. But this is entirely up to you. If you want, you can paint it. You can paint it brown. I'm just liking the tag, so I'm going to keep it. There's also a little metal tag here on the back of it. So you may want to preserve that, or you may want to paint over it. I'm going to preserve it. I'm going to mask it. I'm going to be using the Money's Worth Best Brillo Color Spray Leather Coloring Cordovan Brown. You don't want to just put a big thick coat. You want to build them up. I do what's called a ghost coat, where I just kind of fog everything lightly. Let that dry. And then you build up successive coats, thicker and thicker. Got to get rid of the old red, white, and blue. Oh, this is so frickin' cool. Or frackin' cool, I guess I should say. Yeah, this is great. So there you go. A Cordovan Brown Full Bore. And yeah, I would get 2 cans, one for each boot. I mean, you might get away with a can to do both, but just get 2 cans. Because that way you know you've got total coverage and you can really let it soak. Okay, so we got to do the other one. And it's basically the same as what I just showed you, so I won't bore you with that. I'm just going to clean up the buckles and mask them off really good. take it out and shoot it. The other issue with these costumes is the little laser recharge cylinders on the belt. Originally on the show they used markers, these 70s, I think they were dry erase markers painted gold. I found these 40mm shells at an army surplus place, and I was using those on my belt for a long time. But they're really heavy, they're metal. So we're going to actually get accurate reproductions of those powerlet things. We'll be doing those up too. So it turned out awesome. I really like this. It looks great. The only thing is a couple of the masking jobs on the buckles here have a little bleed through, but that's no big deal. You just take your steel wool and it'll come right off. You just polish it off. Scrape it off with the steel wool. They say this stuff is dye, but I think it's actually some kind of leather spray paint, to be honest, because it looks like it would stick to the metal. So if you wanted to be 100% accurate, you could just paint over your full bore logos. You still got to preserve the buckles, because on the show they had their buckles. And that's another thing. Some of them have these cam lever type, and then some have buckles. It just depends on the year of the full bore motorcycle boot you get, I guess. I like the look of these cam levers. They're really cool. They look pretty futuristic. They were always coming up with interesting things in the 70s, like the buckles on the jacket of the Colonial Warrior. If you're building one of these costumes, the belts are tricky too. You can get these gun belt things from army surplus stores. You can do either navy blue or black. I went with black. I think that looks best. But this costume, really nice. They did a good job. Has a little inner pocket. It's fully lined. And these are the actual clasps from the 70s style costume. You'll see reproduction jackets, but they don't have the accurate clasps. These are the real ones like they had on the show. The downside being they're just cheap brass plated, so you have to clear coat them or keep them polished. That's the actual patch. Got the little shoulder pads. And then the tunic. The tunic's really cool. It's like a real movie grade tunic with the Velcro closure. So you can rip it open. Very much like the original. You can wear it untucked for the dress uniform. And then some pants. Custom pants. Fitted slacks. It's really a soft micro suede. I don't know if this material is still available, but it must be. So now the boots. So, yeah, this looks great. It's going to be just fine. There, see, the steel wool takes that right off. No more overspray. That leather paint doesn't really want to stick to metal anyway, so even if you do get a little overspray, it'd be easy enough to just take right off. But I'm not going to handle this too much. I'm going to let it cure more. I love the color. It's actually just like the ones on the show now. It looks cool. I know the toy here shows kind of a black boot, but honestly they were dark brown. They were cordovan brown. And it looked great with the uniform. So I'm psyched. Here, let's do a before and after. Alright. There's the city. Red, white, and blue. And the black leather. And then there's the cordovan brown Battlestar Galactica Colonial Warrior boot. Right on. This is neat. Anyway, I'm so excited because I've waited since I was a kid back in the 70s to have these boots. And years ago they were too expensive, and they still were too expensive. But you know, I'm getting old and these boots are getting old, so good luck finding a pair of original 50-year-old boots in good condition, let alone ones in your size. Sometimes you just have to bite the bullet and do it if you really want to have it. And now my costume is complete. So for cosplay or for movie making, It's good to have the original deals if you can find them. Okay, well, thanks for watching. Have a great weekend. Be well.